They were all like that. Something you didn't get about the Hulk, though. The other guy. I thought it was a little cheesy the way that he wouldn't call him the Hulk. He's like, the Hulk, I mean, the other guy. I was just like, uh, that's, that's cheesy to say. It would have been more cheesy if he said the other me or something like that. Um, he did whine a little bit at one point, but very briefly. And most of the time, he was a very understandable and relatable character. And when you find out that he tried to commit suicide, I thought that that was really good um, because comic book movies have been taken so seriously lately, and are very dark and depressing and brooding, and remind me a little bit of Final Fantasy games actually. Which reminds me, okay, so Loki brainwashes people, and when he brainwashes them, their eyes glimmer, like in Final Fantasy VII and FF7 AC. He looks just like that. It's really weird, like how the soldiers in that game and in the movie, they get like all chemicalified and they have like this glimmer in their eye, and that's how you can tell that they're soldiers. And they've had like the sort of I'm trying to remember what it's called, gentling. If you read the lives of Alchemora, sort of like this gentle type thing that they undergo. It's been a while since I've seen it. I'm sorry, but it totally reminded me of that. But anyway, comic book movies have had like this very Final Fantasy type dark brooding atmosphere, which not as bad as it was in Final Fantasy by a long shot, but they've had that. So you sort of get that sense of like there is real despair, there is real darkness in it, but it doesn't overtake the movie. So I thought that was good, and that was something very serious to talk about. They didn't spend very much time on it, but it really got to me. As little time as they spent over, I didn't think they glossed over it. Because they probably talk about that in the movie, and I'm sure they'll talk about it again in later movies. And quite frankly, if you're a lot of people, if I think if you're inclined to even think about committing suicide, I don't think we're really going to talk about it in the situation that he did. I was just like being really pressed about it, getting really frustrated, and then it just like comes out. And I thought that that was really good for his character. That really impressed me that they put that in there. I don't know if that's like a thing from the comics or not, but that stuck with me, you know. But there's something I don't understand about the Hulk. Right after that, he Hulkifies. Okay, fine, and he's completely uncontrollable. They can't get him to not transform. They can't get him to calm down once he transforms. He doesn't seem to know who anyone is, or be able to talk to them, or no one can communicate with them. And the best thing that they can do is just try to knock him out. They can't even calm him down. They have to knock him out. Okay, but then later when he Hulkifies again, he seems to be completely conscious of who everyone is. He can talk to people. He can accomplish specific objectives. Like, I thought that was part of the thing, was that he was uncontrollable, and that was part of the reason why I was like, are you really gonna Hulkify in New York City, where there's tons of people around that you could hurt? And he like goes through an office, like an office building, and no one seemed to be hurt by that we saw. It's I was just like, so why can you like why are you so um sentient, I guess, now, and you weren't before? I didn't understand that. Also, I didn't understand why. Okay, so he's a person, and then he Hulkifies and he gets big and his shirt tears off, but his pants are still on. They're much bigger than they should be, but they're still on. And I was like, really? And I was like, well, you're not gonna have a naked Hulk wandering around. I mean, it's like I said, it's not Watchmen. You know, it worked for Doctor Manhattan, but it's not gonna work if you have like a Hulk with all this stuff hanging out. I was like, okay, but then he woke up and he didn't have his pants on. I was like, but you had your pants on. You didn't grow out of your pants. But then he woke up without his pants, and I was like, but you had your pants. You had your pants on the whole time. And then, oh, I'm sure I would understand this if I knew the character more, but I didn't get this. Right before the big battle starts, they're like, "You better get angry, Hulk," and he's like, "That's a secret to keep calm. I'm always angry." I'm like, "You are?" And it's funny because he's probably the character I had the most problems with, and I liked him a lot. I liked his Doctor character. I liked the Hulk character. The Hulk character was really funny. I thought I wouldn't connect with the Hulk character at all because thought it would be like Hulk. I thought he would be like the first time in Hulk fight when he had no personality. He was just a smashing machine. Um, Actually, the only time before the movie ended that people applauded in the movie theater, which I thought was kind of wrong, was when Hulk was just like at Thor. Everyone was like, that was great. The audience was laughing, and there was a lot of really good humor in this. The dialogue had Joss Whedon all over it, and that was great. Which this is what I mean by him writing for a comic book movie. I mean, he directed it too, but he just he has that specific style, and that's great. Um, okay, so now I've gone over the characters. I guess the plot. Um, I guess really the only thing I can go over is the ending fight. I have to say something very specific about it, and it kind of relates back to the Watchmen movie, not the book. Well, sort of the book a little bit, but probably more than any other movie I've seen, not just comic book movies, but any blockbuster type movie featuring really powerful beings fighting in a big city and demolishing everything. This movie really captured it. I really felt this. They really captured the real consequences of fighting in a big city. There was a lot of destruction, and if you're a New Yorker, you're probably like seeing like all this destruction going on. I thought it was really cool when they were like crashing all over Grand Central Station. But like at first it was just buildings, but like that was kind of a big thing. And then as the movie went on, you saw people. You never saw see anyone get killed or anything like that because that's for a darker movie. But you do see people like trying to save other people. You see other people like and their reactions. You see that sort of thing, and then like you really get the feeling that you're in a city. You know, it's not like Angelic Layer where you're just sort of in this set that looks like a city. It felt like they were really fighting in New York City, something which I think a lot of people didn't like, and something I thought was a little failing about a really great movie, Watchmen. When they destroyed New York, it didn't feel like they destroyed New York. You don't really get the feeling of that impact. Like, that's 9/11 was two buildings. And that was such a huge event all over the country. To this day, like, we still talk about that. And that's still one of the most horrific things that's happened in recent history for the U.S. And in this movie, they destroyed the entire city and everyone in it. And there was, like, no impact. The impact probably could have been stronger in this movie, but it was stronger than I've seen in other movies. Pretty much every other movie. So I give them a lot of kudos for that. And they did this really interesting thing where they did this very shortly, but it was very effective. And I thought if they went on with it for a while, people would get bored. But they showed some news footage, and they showed people who survived. They showed people who didn't survive. They showed people who were I like that in the Marvel universe, the superheroes are superheroes. Like, there's no hiding in the shadows. There's no, like, people even know that Tony Stark is Iron Man. But I mean, I guess he's a millionaire. He has like bodyguards and stuff. He can hold people away. But like, people love these superheroes. People know these superheroes. It's not like the superheroes are anonymous. I really like that. And Stan Lee is in the news footage. I was just like so screaming when I saw that. But there were people who were talking about, well, they saved my life that day, and it was so amazing, and they did so much good, and a lot of people were like, well, what's their deal? Like, we can't control them, and they're this unstoppable force. Like, there were a lot of, like, really interesting things going on, and I thought that that was really great, and I hope in future movies or in previous movies they do that more, because that was great. The audience, or the townspeople's reaction, it was really good. So trying to remember. I took like a lot of notes when I was watching it. I had like this whole running commentary. Oh, okay. They were. I'm gonna end this on sort of a bad note, but 3 things that I just shook my head and went no at. Okay, so first of all, the bit where like they have the invisible airship, because it really is a ship. God, it's not that part. Cause well, a little bit, but it's a compliment. Whatever. Um, there were like fighter jets and stuff. There was like the no. It started when they caught Loki, and Thor like landed on their plane or whatever. And they were at this high altitude, and they just opened the plane, no atmospheric problems like that. And Captain America just jumped out. Like, Iron Man had a suit, but Captain America just jumped out. And I know he's not like a regular person. And later I was just like, well, I guess he's a superhero, so I'll give him a pass. And no damage. But then they did it again, and Black Widow even specifically said when the airship went up, you want to go inside because the atmosphere's going to get really uncomfortable out here. And then, they had the plane go by, and Hawkeye is just standing in the open plane. Like, maybe Captain America has superhuman powers that protect him from atmospheric pressure, but I'm pretty certain Nighthawk doesn't, and whoever else was in the plane flying it. Oh, should I? Come on now. And then, I want to say there were 3 things, and I forget what the second one was. But the third one, the second one was, so these people are like gentled, well, not gentles, but like they're mind controlled into working for Loki. And what fixes them, gets them out of the state is you knock them out on the head real hard, and then they're better. It's like, well, you could say that like as long, maybe like they never become unconscious as long as he's controlling them, so he controls their consciousness, and then once they enter subconscious, like it releases them from his conscious hold. Probably not. And then third, but I mean, that one was like the least of those. The third was, so she hits the guy on the head hard, and he wakes up. He's like, oh no, I opened this portal, and we can't destroy it. And she's like, well, it's okay. You weren't yourself. And he's like, maybe I was. I programmed a safety override into it. I was like, you did not! You were brainwashed. No, that wouldn't happen. Okay, so there were those 3 things, and one less than a second long, bad green screen effect. Everything else was pure gold. Like, it was amazing. This isn't like necessarily just like, not necessarily, but this is not stupid blockbuster summer action flick that's stupid and insulting. It's really good. As good as you've heard, it's that good, if not better. I promise you, it's so good. So you should, if you can, check it out. I saw it in IMAX 3D, and I don't like 3D. The 3D, I was gonna say that. I don't like 3D, but the 3D was, like, the lighting was really bright, and for a comic book movie, it's not as much of a gimmick. There are a lot of movies that are in 3D that should not be in 3D. In this movie, it should be in 3D, like, not that it should, but there's no reason why it shouldn't. Let me say it like that. So that was fine. And in IMAX, great. But you should see it in theaters if you can. If not, see it when it comes out. It's quite a ride. Like, if you just strap in and let it take you, the places it'll take you, I promise.